Hello, this is Ross Bond Returns, and welcome to the first part of my audio walkthrough for Portal 2, brought to you by Valve Software. It was recorded using Fraps, and edited not at all, really. When I decided to do a audio walkthrough for Portal 2, I didn't want to do something that was completely similar to all other Portal walkthroughs. So what I wanted to do was to discuss something that I'm very familiar with, and that is screenplays or screenwriting. So most of what I talk about with you during these walkthroughs will actually be from a writing perspective, although I will make note of key gameplay elements and moments, like the fact that a few moments ago you were looking at a picture of a cabin, mountains, lake, and you'll notice that in a few moments, when the game starts, it's an entirely different picture, with a giant moon, the first of many moon references in the game. Go back to sleep.
Good morning. You have been in suspension for 99999.
Now, of course, if I were to take Portal 2 and turn them into a script, I'd have to make certain differences to the story, in that I'll probably have to do a few things like, give cello voice, because it's very difficult to write a script where your protagonist is silent, let alone when you have such a talkative antagonist in the form of Wheatley here, and then later with GLaDOS as well, and with Carolyn, and with Cave. But
please prepare for emergency evacuation.
Yeah, emergency evacuation.
Stay calm, prepare. That's all I'm saying, prepare.
Just so you know, I am British. I've been there for quite a while, so my accent's mostly gone. But if I were to actually put on my accent,
you might want to hang on to something.
Yeah, it might get a bit confusing with Wheatley. But when I open my screenwriting software, and since I'm a pro screenwriter, it's not some fancy program that costs $200, which is a bit of a bummer. But I would write internal hotel-like room.
Most test subjects do experience some cognitive deterioration after a few months in suspension. Now, you've been under for quite a lot longer.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Out of the question that you might have a very minor case of serious brain damage.
Oh, fantastic. And you see, in a screenplay, I would be able to use that to my advantage, because I would be able to give her memories, which may or may not be accurate. But they would be interesting memories nonetheless. Memories of her growing up, perhaps, or memories of her...
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Visiting.
Does any of this make any sense? Just tell
her
me, just say
being
yes.
Perhaps adopted. Of course, we know she is adopted.
Okay, what you're doing there is jumping. You just
I think that's fantastic. Jumping.
Say apple.
Jumping for speed. Say apple. Apple.
Okay, you know what? That's close enough. Just hold tight.
Now, just so you know, I'm playing this on a rig that is not designed for playing computer games. And since I was playing and recording, I decided to set everything to minimum for the first half of gameplay, and then I set everything to medium for the rest of it. So you'll notice it's not as graphically as so it would be playable. You'll also notice that the video and Wheatley's announcements are like millions of miles apart from what's going on. And that's just the fault of Lord knows why. Probably the speed of my computer. But it's kind of handy because later on, everything goes very quiet, and we'll be able to discuss things a bit better.
Down here and finds 10,000 flipping vegetables. Alright, so no, I hit that one.
Jump over this fridge.
Okay, listen,
okay.
We should get our story straight, alright? If anyone asks, and no one's going to ask, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
If anyone asks, tell them as far as you know, the last time you checked, everyone looked pretty much alive. Alright?
Alright.
Not dead. Okay, almost there. On the other side of that wall is one of the old testing tracks.
Now, as you can tell, we're not almost there. We're barely started.
I think this is a docking station. Get ready.
No, it's another room. That's because we're so far behind.
Good news, that is not a docking station. So there's one mystery solved. I'm going to attempt a manual override on this wall. Could get a bit technical. Hold on.
In the background, now you see what could be Chamber 2. Now, if you look at the poster I zoom in on, you can see different things about test subjects. Unfortunately, that got in the way. But that's the way of adding, great way of adding backstory, is to have these test chambers with these lovely stickers on, so you can check out what they say. Oh look, it's quiet. There's, number 19. Is that test chamber 19? Maybe. Now I like this part, you can see all those rooms falling away. Now, of course, they can't do this in the game, but if I were to write this in a screenplay, I would make this even more dynamic. Because I would have Chell get nearly knocked out, perhaps even get knocked through into that open room that the room first collides with, and she has to run and jump back into her own. Trying to have her dangling off, because it has to be more dynamic. Having her hold on for dear life, getting the hands in the way here, so that we're not slamming our face into the girders, that would be helpful. But what it all comes down to is whether I would write a kind of word for word or action for action script of the Portal and Portal 2 games, or if I would write an adaptation. And that's the key. I would probably write an adaptation, because that allows me to do things that I can't do if I were to do a word for word script based on Portal and Portal 2. An adaptation gives me more options and makes it more open for me to be creative in my screenwriting. So I would probably go for an adaptation.
Well, wow. There we go.
Back.
Now I'll be honest, you are
last time we were talking
in no
about
fit state to run this
writing an adaptation or a word for word.
At least you're a good jumper. So
and
got the jumper
I would recommend
just do your best,
adaptations.
and I'll meet you up ahead.
And we'll talk about that as we go. There's still plenty of time. But basically, an adaptation means that you're writing a story with more freedom. You can go into backstory. You could have scenes that you don't see in the games, which would be key to making a good Portal screenplay.
Alright, off you go.
Because this is all well and good, but it's much more interesting to be able to do something that you haven't seen before.
Science Enrichment Center. We are currently experiencing technical difficulties due to
I like how the timer is flashing 12 o'clock.
Beyond our control.
I think that's really cute. Really cute.
These pre-recorded messages will provide instructional and motivational support,
oh, good.
So that science can still be done,
Woo.
even in the event of environmental, social, economic, or structural collapse. The portal will open, and emergency testing will begin in 3, 2, 1.
I zoom in a moment to get a look at the character, and then realize I haven't positioned myself correctly. Here we go. But there we go. There I am. Yep. I love the aesthetics and the dilapidated first levels of this game. I think they set the tone nicely. You've got really great ambient effects, the birds, the dripping water, the crow, and just the plant life itself. It's just fantastic. I love the start here.
Remains an important tool for science, even in a dire
Oh, good.
emergency. If cube and button-based testing caused this emergency, the odds of this happening twice are very
I love how the dirt and the steam and the sparks all come right when he says the chance of this happening
The
again.
incandescent particle field across the exit. This aperture science material emancipation grill will vaporize any unauthorized equipment that passes through.
There's certain things I wouldn't change, and that is the announcer or GLaDOS or whoever would have very snarky dialogue. Absolutely. Snarky dialogue.